everybody, it's Skull+Butterfly here, and today we're going to be turning this poem, we're going to be giving her a new look. So I thought, why not actually draw out a design for her, just a base thing. We aren't going to add any color, just sort of a base thing for us to go off with the hair. So, since this is at an angle, you can't really see how it looks like up front, and let me tell you, it's not symmetrical at all, but it looks good nonetheless. So here I'm just lightly sketching out the base idea for her hair, or her mane. I wanted it to be a tight cut bob, or not tight cut, but blunt cut with floofy eyelashes. So yeah, here I'm just picking off some of the remainder hair. I cut it all off and I've shoved in the stubble from the tail, and I've went in with a nail file and I smoothed out the areas that I'm gonna need to smooth out the most, like around the hooves where there was previously nail polish. So yeah, that really needed some smoothing. And around the eyes on the head, since there was a lot of bumps there. Now the finished product doesn't look quite good, as you'll see at the end of the video, but it's good nonetheless. Here I'm just starting to mix in some blue, and I originally thought that I would make a purpley color with the red, but I decided that wouldn't look good, so I changed it to green, and I made a very beautiful turquoise-like color and I blended it with a lot of white to get a very light color, since I knew that I wanted it to be a light color instead of the slightly darker blue that I had previously there. And now I'm mixing the darker turquoise that is going to be put in her eyes. It's only going to be a slightly darker turquoise, but for this purpose I only used a tiny bit of white, and I used dark green instead of the green that I used for the previous color. And now, since there was not that much paint, I thought I would need to put some water in it to, make it last a bit longer, so that I would be able to use more of the paint. Now onto painting. I'm using a lot of watery layers on the paint. And the main reason why I use watery layers is because the surface used to be very rough, and I used the X-Acto knife and the nail file to sort of sand down all of those bumps, but there are still some there, so I'm just gonna put on a couple of watery layers so that, nothing really too bad happens. I actually had to put my hand on different areas of the figure rather than what I normally would, since whenever I tried to do that at first, it covered up the entire figure. And I wanted you guys to be able to see what I was doing, so yeah. This is just the first pass of color. It's very watery, very flowy, and it can slip off pretty easily, so put a napkin or a paper towel or some sort of towel that it's okay for you to use paint on underneath the figure, so that it doesn't drip all over the area you're working on. Okay, so right here, I'm pulling out the remaining stubble from the freshly cut hair. Well, it's not freshly cut, but anyways, in order to get my pliers in there and the ends of my paintbrushes to break up the stubble, well, the glue for the stubble, I opened the base of the neck hole so that it can really get in there. I ended up accidentally popping in and out of frame while working on the hair bit because it was so hard to keep it to where it was in frame, yet I could still be able to closely work on it. Probably should have sped this up more. Sorry about the blaring buzzing in the background of the audio. Can't really fix it. Here's all of the hair plugs plugged out, and now I'm going to start and add more watery acrylic layers of paint over the face. And I wanted to do a really good job on the face since, you know, the body isn't really something that you look at most of the time. Most of the time you look at the face and see how well the paint job was on the face, because that's basically the main event. Our eyes are drawn to the face. Speaking of drawn, I went on ahead and I drew one of the eyes on the head, and I also painted on with the toothpick the emerald cutie mark on her flank, and with black I sort of drew in the eyelashes, and here I also used that tiny little bit of turquoise and white on the face. Now I'm just covering everything in Mod Podge to somewhat seal in the paint and make it to where it won't easily chip away. Now, I also realized that the only way that the Mod Podge isn't completely waterproof. It is somewhat waterproof, but if you like leave something covered in Mod Podge in the water and you scrape off and you try to like scratch off some of it, it will easily come off. So if you're planning on using it for watery purposes, then I suggest you be careful with that. Also, here I sort of made a mistake and I forgot to wait for that black to dry, so it kind of smeared. So yeah, that's why in the end product you see that. Here's the mane and tail filled in with a light pinky yarn. I used a pet brush to brush it out, as well as my pliers to hold everything in place. Here I'm taking out a rubber band so I can put in a hairpiece, although it didn't really work as well as I intended it to. That was the repaint. Like this video if you liked it, subscribe for more videos like this, comment in the comment section below what you want to see next, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye!